You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Ian, look at this.
What, it's a police box. What on earth's he doing here? Well, these things are usually on the street. Oh, feel it. Feel it, you feel it?
Faint vibration.
It's alive.
Earth Station Who, a fun mashup celebrating nearly 50 years of the Doctor Who universe. Hold tight. You never know where the TARDIS is going next.
Blossom, yes, Blossom. That's the only sad thing. I want to know what happens next. Right then. Doctor whoever I'm about to be. Tag. You're it.
When are these teeth? What? What?
Hey there, Whovians, and welcome to another episode of our Station Who. That's right, folks, we're back, and we are going to be looking at another Big Finish adventure. And this time, we are looking at the Eighth Doctor story, Season of Fear. It is one of the monthly adventures that they put out in the early 2000s, I think. At this point.
It was before
2002.
Yeah, it was. So I know it was exactly before the reboot. So it was awesome to hear because it's the Eighth Doctor and Charley, or Charlotte Pallard. So it is real interesting to listen to, and it was a ton of fun to be able to talk to you guys about it and everything. So you know what? It's great to have more Eighth Doctor stories because a lot of people just think the Eighth Doctor is the TV movie and the one special, and that's it. So it is really awesome. There's, God, I think, does, I guess Paul McGann, has he done at least 100 Doctor Who stories or so?
At least.
Big Finish.
Yeah, he's done more than anybody else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so this, for people who say, oh, the Eighth Doctor's nothing, folks, this is proof there is tons of, and it's good stories. These are, all great adventures and everything. And the Doctor had some great companions, and it's pretty cool. And we're going to have a great time to talk all about it. We have a great crew, of course, to do it. Of course, Mr. Mike Gordon is here.
Howdy.
And Mary Ogle is here.
Hi, everybody. It is fantastic to be here.
And, of course, you heard Dave Chapman's voice popping up. It's been a little bit, sir. Good to have you.
Little bit. Good to be here.
It's going to be a ton of fun. And, when we said we're going to be doing an Eighth Doctor Big Finish adventure, I got a banging on my door, and Dave was there like going, you got to let me in. You got to let me in. So it was like, let me in, let me in.
I can't breathe out here.
I love
exactly.
Paul McGann. I love the Eighth Doctor. He's one of my favorites. So
exactly. So it's awesome. And, folks, Big Finish, if you haven't gotten in with, they have literally the Fourth Doctor, the Fifth Doctor, the Sixth Doctor, the Seventh Doctor, Eighth Doctor, all brand new adventures. They even have brand new adventures now with Chris Eccleston as the Ninth Doctor and David Tennant as the 10th Doctor. Mm-hmm. Not as the 14th yet, but that's a whole different story. But, Big Finish is a whirlwind, and they have companion stories. They have unit stories. They have,
master stories.
Yeah, Master, Missy, Torchwood. Yeah, you name it, they have it. And it's a lot of the original cast members in these stories. which is really cool. So yeah, it's definitely, as I like to say, actually, Colin Baker's Doctor, the Sixth Doctor, redeemed himself as, in Big Finish, because
absolutely.
I thought he was given a raw deal, and I was not a big fan of Colin's Doctor, of what he did and the stories, and listening to his Big Finish adventures has reversed that for me. And I'm actually pleasant to him when I see him in person. So it's pretty cool because of that. So definitely, folks, check out the Big Finish adventures if you get a chance. We definitely would love to hear from you guys. Feedback at Earth Station Who is definitely the best way to do it. If you get a chance, please leave feedback for us anywhere you listen to this. And if you have a chance, tell your friends and tell your neighbors. Earth Station Who is still around, and we've been going strong since 2013. So we're on our 10th anniversary, folks. And it's pretty cool that we've been able to do this for our show. And, we're just having fun, and we're going to keep going until Doctor Who's done. And so that's going to be a long time.
I'm sorry, what?
Exactly.
Wait a minute. We don't remember signing up for that.
I was going to say, I'm going to have to look at my contract again.
You didn't see the small print in there?
The tiny little print?
Yeah. In the invisible reappearing ink. It's awesome. So it's awesome. But it's always good to be here with you guys. So it's going to be a ton of fun to talk about this tonight. We do have a little bit of Doctor Who news. The big news, of course, the return of Murray Gold. That's right, folks. That's right. We just a couple days ago had the announcement that Murray Gold is returning for the 60th anniversary specials. So brand new Murray Gold Doctor Who material. What we're getting, we don't know. We also don't know if he's going to be continuing with the series after the 60th anniversary. So we don't know for season 14 if he's going to be continuing on doing the music, or is it somebody else? And
it'll be a surprise.
Yep.
As all things with Doctor Who, right?
But I'm happy just to have him back for the 6 years.
All things Doctor Who get spoiled 2 years ago.
True. But it's interesting because people were like going, didn't he say he was finished with Doctor Who, that he was all burnt out? And it's like, well, it's been 3 years.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, RTD said that too. I hate to tell you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, it's like, I've seen so much people reporting negative about this, that, I don't want him coming back. I don't think it's what's good for the show. They need to expand elsewhere. And it's like, folks, he was one of the greatest composers for Doctor Who, especially new series. And so, we wouldn't have had some of the great music we've had in the new series of Doctor Who without Murray Gold. So even if it's just for 3 specials, I'm very happy about that. My face lit up.
Yeah. Well, and I don't usually buy soundtracks, and I have bought the soundtracks just for Murray Gold because the music is that good. It's just...
And it's not like he just worked with one incarnation of the Doctor. He worked with 3.
3.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think there was a different style approach to each one of them, and it was solid. And most importantly, I think the main theme.
4.
Okay.
4.
Wow. Okay.
4. Ha, 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 ha.
The
9, 10, 11, and 12.
Gotcha.
All the way up to Jodie starting.
That's right. I'd forgotten he started with Chris. But most importantly, I think his versions of the main theme were like just really good. And that to me is like a big thing. Like if you can't do the main theme in a way that I like, then that puts a dark cloud over the whole series for me.
Oh, sure. Yeah, no, I completely agree. He doesn't have my favorite version of the Doctor's theme, because for me, Tom Baker's first theme, and it was also the last season of Pertwee that they did with the time tunnel and everything, and them redoing the theme for that season. Those seasons were great. But Murray Gold's is a close second. I love those compared to the stuff we got later in the 80s. We're not touching that. Nope. But it's pretty awesome that we got, some amazing music out of it. But just not that, but, the Doctor's theme. And each Doctor had their own theme song and everything, which was awesome.
Each Doctor, each companion, some of the bad guys, some of the monsters, whatever. He made sure that they had recurring themes throughout the whole show, which I think is a lost art among many composers these days. I think it's always cool when a certain characters, whatever, have their own theme. And when you hear that, it brings a lot to the table when you're watching watching a show, a story.
Yeah.
No, very much so. And I think it'll be very interesting to see what he comes up with a new iteration of it. And you know what? Bring it on, as we like to say.
Yeah. I'm not worried at all about him coming back and being repetitive because he was so good at individuating characters with his themes. So I have no doubt he'll be able to do that again.
I was saying before, I'm excited he's coming back, but I did enjoy Segun Akinola's work. I said it. I want to see what he can do with another Doctor, and Murray Gold was part of hiring him. He was largely picked by Murray Gold.
He was not a slouch. He was not a slouch at all. No, I'm not saying that, but he just didn't have proper direction.
I would love to see if the two of them work together. Even if Murray Gold was going to stick around and mentor, because he got dropped into it. Not that he doesn't have the chops to do that, obviously, but like a lot of stuff in the Jodie era,
it didn't stick. Yeah.
Here
you go.
I actually was not a fan of his work during the Jodie era, but I think it may have been more that he simply was not given direction, that he wasn't given the chance to shine. I think that happened to a lot of people during the Chibnall era. And and actually I think it'd be really interesting for him and Murray to work together. That I think would be fascinating.
No, agree completely with that. I completely agree with that. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I really think that will be. Other Doctor Who news, we did see new costumes for the Doctor and Ruby and also Jinx.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know what character the Jinx, so we're just calling her Jinx.
Right.
So
she has a very evil laugh in her little video. So I'm assuming she's a villain.
I haven't seen the video. I've only seen the pictures.
Oh yeah, there's a little video.
Yeah, interesting. So
very fun though.
It's it looks like she's a walking piano player, so it's awesome.
Yeah, it's obvious there's some sort of musical tie-in.
Oh, you think? But I think it looks awesome. I love Shudi's pinstripe 60s look that
the blue pinstripe.
He has. Exactly. And then he also has more of an afro in the pictures
he's
too.
Definitely got more hair.
Exactly.
And,
So Time Lords can just will themselves to grow hair and lose hair,
And Millie reminds me of Diana Rigg from the Avengers. Mrs. Hill.
She did have that kind of look to her. Very much so. That would be kind of awesome if they did like a kind of a send up to the Avengers.
Oh, that would be cool. Story,
in that storyline.
Sure.
So, and I know Mike is a huge Steed and Mrs. Peel fan. So.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and with the costumes, I took one look at them right when I saw the all three of them. When I saw them, I was like, "Wow, those would make cool figures." And I think there's a lot to be said for that. Granted, some people are like, "Oh, it shouldn't all be all about selling toys or whatever," but that's a big part of it, and that's something that's been lacking, I think, for a while in Doctor Who. And if you want to get the people, like the young people interested, if you want to get kids back involved with it, having figures that look cool is a big part of it.
No, can't disagree with that. Exactly. And having costumes that are recognizable or, that make it stand out. I think that was pretty cool. Well, like when Jodie first started as the Doctor and they did put out Funkos for her, they had her, of course, dressed as Capaldi and having the apron on, and she had the goggles on and holding the sonic screwdriver. And then they had her in her new outfit with and without the jacket. So it's, because the jacket one was the one they did at San Diego Comic-Con, and that was mega expensive to get. Not that I have yet. Don't think I'm using the podcast money, the millions we're getting to buy Funkos. Yeah,
millions and millions.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just interesting that you got that, but that's pretty much all we got for. We didn't get any of the 13th Doctor companions. We didn't get, a Yaz, a Graham, or any of the others at all. So it would have been
Gilligan's
great.
Island, poor Ryan. It's like
yeah.
It's like, and the rest.
And the rest, well, Dan was in there too, so it's okay. So, hell, at least, Marianne and the Professor are getting Funko Pops now when the whole series up.
And well,
you think Dr. 15 is going to be like changing outfits all the time?
That would be a good question.
Because that's a very different thing. I mean, we've seen slight variations and different, change of costumes here and there from different doctors, but usually they've had a look to them that is consistent. And I do wonder if that is changing this season, but I mean, we don't have a lot to go in, just a couple of images, so we don't know, but if this is a one-time thing or if it's going to be like,
I know that.
I mean, we've already seen 4. One of them we assume is the end of the David Tennant costume, but so 3 guaranteed costumes of him, right? We saw him in the orange suit kind of a look. We saw him with the similar, and this is something kind of a 70s looking jacket, leather jacket, with still in the orange, and then the 60s outfit. I'm seeing a pattern here, although I really wish the pinstripe suit was something closer in that autumn tone.
Actually, I'm the reverse. Sorry, David, but I'm just like I thought this is the first uniform outfit that I've seen him in. And I'm like, wow, that's really cool. Like the others seem kind of like bland to me. Like when they first revealed the orange and brown. And I was just like, man, that looks kind of bland. I liked a little bit more color, I think. And so seeing him in the blue suit, man, he really pops in that. And, I mean, we'll see. But, I mean, I was like, I'd like to see him in that all the time.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. Those are opposite on the color wheel. He's orange and then he's blue.
But he makes both of them work.
He does.
Yes, he does. He can pull it off, which is awesome.
Yeah. Not too many guys can back up both of those looks. Well,
I think in our next live episode, Mike and I will try backing those out. So something for us to look for.
In addition to the outfit, he's also got a number of rings on, which I didn't notice in the other costumes. So I don't know if that's a.
He did have rings on before.
Okay,
he did have.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, I wasn't sure about that, but
no, I remember when they introduced the new costume, the brown and the orange. Him and the actress who's playing Ruby were playing around, and he says, "Look, I've got rings," and he had all these rings almost on every finger, type thing. So I noticed that. So it was pretty cool and everything. I'll be very interested to see what they come up with and how they go about with it. If he's going to have a standard costume or he's going to be changing all the time. So I'll be very curious to see. So I think we got that going. And then we have a new actor who's been announced. And I am not going to torture this name. So
it is a toughie. That's for sure.
His first name is Majid. I'm not going to, try to go, Mahadiza. No, I'm not even going to try.
You just did.
I know, but he used to be known as Luke Jurdy, and he's going by this other name now. But he joins up in the series with episode 3 of season 14. We don't know if he's a companion or where we've seen him. So, but I know he's been in all 3 seasons of His Dark Materials for HBO, and then he's also was in Discovery of Witches. So I think that's where RTD got, hold of him. So for the series.
I don't think Luke Jurdy was. I do think, because the article that I sent a link for talks about how the way that this was not an official, by the way, BBC announcement, but it was made by Nerdgasm, and they were notified about this, or they found out about this because of stunt performer Luke Gomes, who was in his Dark Materials and a Discovery Witches. And so so we do know that he's got a stunt performer as well. So I guess he's going to, his character is going to be doing some action stuff.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So it would be very interesting to see what the character comes up as. You know what? I'm always open for new casting, and I'm glad they're just not, they're going all out, it seems like, for the season, and bring it on, as we like to say.
One thing I noticed is that it said that it's, he's there as part of Julianne Robinson's block. Are they doing like blocks of stories where there's like, maybe a story takes place over multiple episodes with cliffhangers and all that? Are they getting back into that?
Well, not necessarily. I mean, that's how they always do it. A director takes a block. Usually it's 2 or 3 episodes that they direct at a time. But it doesn't necessarily have to be a cliffhanger or a 2-parter or whatever. I mean, it could be, but it doesn't have to be.
I didn't know if Russell was going to go back to that sort of style, because I really am in favor of that.
Mm-hmm. I'll be very curious to see what happens. That's one thing I loved about the second season of Capaldi, when they did all the 2-parters.
I loved that season. I mean, I love the idea of that season and the execution of that season.
That was a great season.
I love that, and I hated to see that go away.
Mm-hmm. And, one of my favorite was the Zygon story, where, you saw the Zygon Clara watching the airplane explode and everything. Yes. And that was just a great cliffhanger. And that's the one thing I loved about the old series, was the cliffhangers. So,
me too.
Yeah, I've missed that too. I hope we get some of that at least.
Mm-hmm. So it's pretty cool, and we'll definitely see what's coming up with that. I think that's really it with any new Doctor Who news. So let's take a quick break, and we'll be back, and we are going to return for a Big Finish review of Season of Fear.
Hi, I'm Joe Heath.
I'm Tony Heath.
And we host the Watch-A-Thon of Rassilon,
a podcast where we're watching through all of classic Doctor Who.
Nope, we've already done that.
We did? Well, then now what do we do?
What do we two do? We review New Who.
Ooh, we too review New Who?
We do, just for you.
Who?
Not you, them, the listeners of the podcast.
Ah.
The Watch-A-Thon of Rassilon.
Now we review New Who too.
Woohoo!
Welcome back. Now we are looking at Season of Fear. It is featuring, of course, Paul McGann as the 8th Doctor, and, of course, India Fisher as Charlotte Pollard, or Charlie to most people. It's awesome. It's interesting because the storyline was I liked how they did the storyline. At the very beginning, the Doctor meets a villain who's very familiar with him, but the Doctor doesn't have a clue who this guy is. And I loved it. I thought it was a really neat, almost like a reverse, because of this guy, saying, aha, I finally beat you, Doctor, blah, blah, blah. You're going to die. And I won't even, and it was just really interesting to see. And that set the Doctor off to go find out who this person was, and sets everything in motion. And it also has a return of an old series foe, which is even more interesting. So
it has kind of a new Who feel to it, in the sense that there's a lot of jumping around in time, that
Yes.
that you don't always see. But I'm glad to see them playing around with that, which, you know, on audio you can really do that. You don't have to worry about costumes or sets.
No, and it's like it had a very Moffat feel to it in a lot of ways to the story.
I think part of that too is because it's co-written by Paul Cornell with Carolyn Simcox. But Paul Cornell wrote, you know, one of my favorite Doctor Who stories, which is Human Nature, which kind of plays around with that stuff too. And you know, Paul's really good when he, you know, for the most part. And I that's one of the things that attracted me to this story. I hadn't listened to it before this past week, but I really appreciate his storytelling, and he gets it with as far as Doctor Who and playing around with time and everything like that.
Very much so. And it was really good how they did the 4 different periods, and you know how the Doctor kept on showing up. You're back. You know, I loved, you know. And the bad guy was a true, you know, mustache twirling bad guy, and it was like exactly. He shaves his beard off. It looks so much better than you. It's like so. But yeah, the villain was Sebastian Grail, and it's like
nice name. I don't know how you guys are, Dave, especially you, if you're familiar with, because of this, it seems like this was the beginning of a huge story, because there's definitely things at the end that are not resolved. So it looks like it's going to continue, or at least go into the next story. The thing I read said it was the 3rd in a series of 6 stories featuring the 8th Doctor. That it's part of like that monthly season, monthly, I don't know, range, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
Right. So it didn't feel like there was stuff before this, but it definitely felt like there was stuff coming after this.
Well, there is stuff before, because it's an arc about Charlie and how he has saved Charlie from the exploding airship, which we listened to that one, didn't we? I was
going to say, was that the first or second one
that's the first one where he meets her, and so he saved her, but she should have died. And he saved her, and so there's disturbance in time.
A time paradox right there.
Yeah, we don't get a definitive answer if that's what's going on. The Doctor's convinced that, well, he tries to convince her that it's not, but I don't think he's completely convinced.
No, he's not. I mean, I've listened to actually some of the later ones. They do pay it off.
At the end. And is that worth it?
Yes. Well, I think it is anyway.
Because I really like this. I know that we, like I said, we listened to the first one with Charlie, and I do remember liking that one, but to be honest with you, it's kind of not really prevalent in my head. But this one I really, really liked.
No, it was interesting because the characters were cool. You got the Naimon back, you know, who were kind of a joke.
Everybody wanted that. No, just kidding.
Oh yeah, it's the villains you were asking for,
and they're barely in it anyway. So
it's true.
Yeah, but it was interesting. Like when they were looking in, when the vortex first opened, when they were back in the, you know, when they first introduced to the bad guy and everything. It was interesting because I thought I heard Dalek voices.
I did too.
You did. Yeah. You did.
Yeah. And so it was just like, wait a minute.
Paid off.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
And so I fully was expecting the villain. I didn't think the villains for this would be the Daleks, but I thought the Daleks would have showed up at the end or something like that. Aha, we're the ones behind it, you know, type thing.
And also the title of Master pops up a lot in dialogue.
Yes.
So you're kind of like, is that on purpose?
Mm-hmm. Question as we stroke the beard. Yeah.
So.
Mary's like, I'm saying nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to give it away because it's good art, but it's worth listening to. If you like this story, then you're probably going to like the rest of the stories.
That's it.
Cool.
And they're pretty inexpensive now because I think these are like $4, if that.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, $3.50 or something. They're pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, with the conversion, it's like $12. No.
20 for me.
But exactly, yeah. Go figure. That's why you need to buy it when you're in the States, dude. No. So have you heard this one before, Dave?
It's been a few years. I definitely have. Like I heard the first one. I don't remember what order I listened to them because I took a trip, like 36 road hours. It was one of my trips out to Gen Con in Indianapolis, where I had a Spotify premium, and a bunch of these are on Spotify. So I was just barreling through for 3 days of Doctor Who audios. Mm-hmm. I remember the first episode. I sort of remember this one, but not really well. And I don't remember if until I listened to them. I don't remember if I have or have not heard the later ones.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I know I've listened more with Charley though. So probably.
Oh yeah. Well, I know Charlie's with the Eighth Doctor for a bit, but I know he also had a companion, I think Lucy. And was that the same person who was in this story, or because
I don't know actually.
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing because there's the character of Lucy dies at the end of this story. But I did read something.
Spoilers, by the way, folks.
I know. I did read something that this same actress plays Lucy from a different a different time stream or something like that. And they do kind of mention that in the beginning, how when Sebastian first meets the Doctor, they're on a different time stream, right? Yeah. They're on a different
different Earth, a different time stream.
Yeah, it's the one that's gone off on a tangent, right? And so I don't know if there's a Lucy that's like in the current one, or I don't know how that's resolved, but I don't know. Does she come back? Does anybody know that?
I don't.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I think Lucy was one of the names that the Eighth Doctor mentioned in that little special, right?
Definitely was, yeah.
Yes.
So she must be somebody in back. I don't know if it's the same Lucy, but it seems kind of a coincidence that
either that or he was a big Charlie Brown fan.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. Linus, Lucy, rerun, yeah.
I mean, I think there is a companion named Lucy, but I'm not sure if it's the same
Gotcha.
one.
Well, she was cool. And I was intrigued by her story as well. Her and the old man doing the con. I was like thinking, this is, we always look at these characters and wonder if they'd be good companions. And I was thinking Lucy would be a pretty good companion going forward. So, they did their work on making all the characters, or a lot of the characters, I should say, pretty interesting in this.
Were you expecting that to happen at the end with Lucy and the Doctor, or did that surprise you? I mean, Lucy and her father.
No.
No. I mean, getting killed?
Yeah.
No, I did not. I did not see that coming. It comes
out of nowhere.
I thought the father had got killed, but then they sort of.
And then they bring him back, and then he gets killed again.
To kill him again.
Like Rory.
I know, right? But I love the idea of them like this sort of like, father and son, or I don't think it was really her father, but this sort of couple going around conning folks around that time. I just thought it was really cool. And this is the time of the Hellfire Club, right?
Yep.
Which is a pretty cool thing too.
And it was a bit amusing that at that point, it was one of the few times that the Doctor was, putting himself off as the father of his companion.
Yes.
So that added an extra little weird, parody there.
Which is very strange because, I mean, I don't know. I mean, at the time, if this is supposed to take place like around the same time as when the Fox movie came out, I mean, Paul's still pretty young.
Yeah.
I'm like, could he really pull off being like this woman's father? But
yes.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes, I guess so.
Yes, he could.
Okay.
I mean, he was probably like 40 and she was like 20, so.
Gotcha. But Paul is so good. The Doctor is written so well in this, and he's got. They gave him some great lines. Like I love the line, "The web of time has been unspun." I just love that. Like that's just something that is just like that's a Doctor Who line.
Mm-hmm.
And he's really funny. Like the line where he says, "Sorry, I'm soliloquizing in filthy habit."
Yeah, yes.
I love that. And as for my money, as far as other incarnations of the Doctor goes, I think Paul's got them all beat because he's got as far as the smooth voice goes, like his voice when he starts narrating at the beginning of this, you're just like, this is comfortable.
But just listen to you read the phone book.
Isn't it though? Like, and I don't think you can really say that about many of the other folks that have played the Doctor, right? I think his voice is just so smooth.
It's so calming. And it's just like, ah, yes. And it's just like, oh, you keep on reading, keep on going, whatever you want.
Yeah. Not usually a big fan of like first person narration and stuff, but I mean, like, it totally works here.
Paul McGann's one of those people who could narrate a phone book.
Absolutely. Right. And I would pay like, $29.99 on Big Finish for it.
Well, there you go.
So I wanted to look one thing up because we mentioned the soliloquying line. Because everyone's going, oh, monologuing. Well, that came in with Incredibles, is where that really started getting popular, which came out in 2004. So it was before the term monologuing was really in pop culture by a couple of years.
Yeah, yep, that's true.
I had to go. I was like, right, I got to look that up, and didn't remember until just that.
It's interesting. I thought the chemistry and the story was great, especially between the Doctor and Charley. But I also liked the interaction between, I thought it was awesome with, Sebastian and the Doctor. They worked well off of each other. And you could hear how the actor who was playing Sebastian, how his character, his voice was changing even as he was getting, older and older.
So much so that at the end, when he confronts his younger self, it's like two different actors.
Yeah.
Yes. He does that really well.
Absolutely.
It was like, wow. And this thing moves very quickly. It's, it's 4 stories and 4 parts, and it's really well done. And it did not drag at all. It just went right through. I was shocked when it was done already. It was like, oh, that's it. Type thing. Because there's some River songs we've listened to, and it's like, oh, is this over yet?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if the Edward the Confessor chapter was necessary. It did felt like a little bit of filler.
A little bit.
I don't know. I kind of enjoyed that chapter.
I mean, it was enjoyable.
I liked Edith. I thought Edith was kind of interesting, conniving,
and especially because there's a history between her and the Doctor.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool. And I think you did need sort of an in-between chapter to show like how the villain is progressing and getting more and more evil, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, there we go.
Exactly.
More and more of a Neiman stooge.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. And I loved how each time how the Doctor foiled him, and it was awesome. And it was really also interesting, the sword with, the alien steel, being able to drain the energy and even the immortality from him. That was very interesting. And I thought it was a good story. And the only thing I didn't like about it is how easily he got into the TARDIS. It's like, because it's like the TARDIS is not something that people just wander into and, or follow into.
Yeah, he has no trouble at all getting into the TARDIS.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose you could wave it away and say, oh, it's all part of the Doctor's master plan or something. But
it's true.
His master plan.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I thought it was good. You know what? I enjoyed it. I'll go be the first one. I'm going to give this four TARDISes. So I thought it was that good. What about the rest of you guys? 1 out of 5. Let's start with Mary.
I enjoy this one a lot. I mean, I think I'll give it a 4.5 TARDISes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I just really, first of all, like Paul McGann and Charley are my favorite companions on Big Finish. There's just something about Paul McGann and India Fisher. They work so well together. They just spark off each other, and the banter and the relationship is wonderful. And and God, Paul McGann is so good here. He sells it as the Doctor, and the villain is great. And it's just a lot of fun to listen to. And actually this whole arc, I mean, some are stronger than others, but it is a good arc. And I would definitely, even if you're just starting with Big Finish, I would say this is starting with this arc with Storm Warning, which is where the Doctor meets Charlie, I think is a great place to start.
I agree with that. Dave?
I like Storm Warning better, I think, but I don't think I have a fair reason to rate it as low as I do, but I'm going to say 3.5. It's not,
interesting.
It's not that
do tell why.
Not that I didn't like it, because I do. I like so much about it, but there's just something about it that doesn't grab me the way a lot of the other ones did, and even a lot of Paul McGann's ones. I can't properly explain it. I wish I could, because I'm standing here having to, but it's just something about it did not just grab and stick the way
certain things connect with certain people.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
I love so.
No, I understand that completely.
Yeah.
That's interesting too. The one thing I do want to say was Paul McGann got cut up or beat up pretty easily.
Yeah, he gets tortured. I mean, flat out tortured, like cut with a knife several times.
Multiple times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or stabbed with a sword, or, it's just like.
I mean, you hear him crying out.
At one point, isn't even surprised that he hasn't regenerated.
Yes, he mentions that.
I like that.
Do I still look the same?
Yeah, do I look the same? Am I glowing? All right, Mr. Mike, take us home with this one, dude.
I really like this a lot too, and a 4 doesn't seem to be enough. I can't quite give it a 5, but a 4.5 sounds just about right to me. I think if this was something that was filmed, if this was an actual story that was, it has the potential to get even higher depending on who they could get for Sebastian Grail. I mean, even if it's the same people, but just visually, I think there's a lot to really unpack here, and it'd be really fun. And one that you'd want to watch over and over again. So I really think that it's really solid storytelling, and it does make me, some of the other Big Finishes, I'm like, oh, that's good, that's fine, whatever. This one is one of the few that I'm like, I want to listen to more of these. I want to listen to more of these. I'm interested in this arc. I think if we don't do it for the show, I'm still probably going to do it personally. I really am interested in this, and it just goes to show you how good Paul McGann's Doctor could have been.
Oh yeah, very much so.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
He was. Don't get me wrong, he did this, but on television or something like that. We lost some really great Doctor moments probably on TV wise. So.
I can't disagree with that. I totally can't disagree with that. It's really sad that we missed out on TV. The only thing is, if we had to see this one, acted out and put onto screen, I don't want to have to see the Nyman again. I really don't want to.
It would be interesting to see how they'd be, because I will say that even in the original time that they're on, which is the Fourth Doctor era, right?
Yeah.
It's with the second Romana and all that, right?
And Adric.
And Adric. I forgot about that. But anyway, actually, but I did think that they were still imposing looking. I did think they were imposing looking, and yes, of course, they had budget at the time. But I'm like, if you did these now, they would be pretty spooky and scary.
Possibly. It'd be very interesting to see. Special effects are better, and CGI does wonders for anyone. It's always good.
It can for sure.
So, all right, folks. Well, exactly. Very true. Very, very true. All right, so that's going to wrap up this episode, folks. Wanted to thank you guys for joining us and talking with us tonight. Let's thank our crew for being here. Mr. Mike, thank you as always, my friend.
And as always, it's my pleasure.
And Ms. Mary Ogle, anything you want to promote?
You can find me at maryogle.com or on Etsy at eVision Arts.
Awesome. And Mr. Dave, thank you, sir.
Thank you once again for having me. I love being here. You can find all of my tabletop review stuff at therathole.ca. All my different social medias at Linktree, linktr.ee/therathole.ca.
Awesome. There we go, folks. So that's going to wrap up another episode of the Earth Station Who podcast. Thank you guys for listening. Doctor Who is coming sooner than we expect, folks. It's coming. It's getting closer. It's under 6 months now, I think. They're just around the 6-month part. So, he's counting on his fingers.
Give or take what the actual start date is, and taking out the fact that we're at the end of April. May, June, July, September, October, November. So
but this might not come out. This might not come out until May. So
that's valid.
See,
I keep forgetting that not all of the time are these live.
Exactly, we're not doing a live one tonight. So, but it's going to be a ton of fun, and you know what? It's coming sooner than we hope. I'm hoping we're going to get a trailer soon. I am really hoping we're going to get a trailer.
I wish we would.
I was hoping with the Blue Peter special that they were doing that we would have gotten a peek at the special, trailers. But nope. So we continue to wait. Knowing BBC, they'll just put the trailer out 2 weeks before the episode. Typical. So, but folks, we'll be back soon, and we will be around to talk to you guys. And we do have a con appearance. That is right. We forgot to tell you guys. It is official. We are going to be returning to Concaster Burris, folks. That's right. Yay. In Huntsville, Alabama. We are going to be going to see you lovely people in June. We are going to be going on June. It is, as of right now, when is it? That is, let's see, when is June? No, just kidding.
Is it
we are
10th and 11th?
It's the con is the 10th and 11th. How can I forget the 11th? It's Judy's birthday. Come on. She would never let me forget that. So it's going to be a ton of fun. We're going to be there. We'll have a table set up inside the hotel, and, just come by and find us, and we'll have, postcards. We'll have some swag. We'll have some fun stuff, and we'll just talk Doctor Who. It's going to be a ton of fun. We don't know if we're going to have any panels yet. We don't know what's going on yet, but as we find out, we will let you guys know, of course. And all three of us are going to be there. It's going to be myself, Mike, and Mary. So
I think I may actually be there via video.
Really?
Christian at least will be. I think I might be as well. So I think we're doing one of those delightful, we'll be on a screen doing a panel with a live audience.
I've heard rumor about that. So it should be kind of fun, because I know Christian can't make it out there for the con itself. It's a long ride, as he said. So it should be a ton of fun. We're going to be looking forward to it. If you want to write us, please feedback@earthstationwho.com. Of course, find us up on all the different socials, the feedback if you can. Of course, and join the Earth Station Who Facebook group. It's the best way to get into the Doctor Who news, and we actually will find when Mike Gordon actually posts news stories, we'll actually pay attention to it. It's a good thing. So it's all cool, folks. So until next time, my friends, on behalf of myself, Mike, and Mary, and of course Dave, we will see you here on Earth Station Who. Peace, and we are done. Boom. Yay.
You have been listening to Earth Station Who, a bi-weekly pop culture podcast dedicated to all things Doctor Who, featuring talents from across the universe. All topics on the show are the sole opinions of the individual and are used for entertainment value alone. You subscribe to our podcast up on iTunes, Stitcher, or follow our blog at www.esopodcast.com. You can also follow us up on Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. If you enjoyed the show, please leave feedback up on iTunes.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.